Hello, friend. Today's video, I want to discuss the contemplation of having a mind invested in conspiracy theories. And we're going to use the law of creation as a measuring stick. So that you yourself can prove how you're influencing your experience. A little background regarding myself is, although I was into the spiritual practices for quite a while already, I allowed myself to go down what we'll consider the rabbit hole of research and trying to validate and understand perceived corruption and control in the external world. And, a lot of the conspiracies that are involved if you look into those types of things. And I'm not saying they're right, and I'm not saying they're wrong, and I'm not saying they're true, and I'm not saying they're false. Because none of that matters when we're considering what we're going to be considering in this video, which is the actual influence on our personal expression and experience. Because I've parked that in myself now for, maybe approximately a year. I don't entertain low vibration topics in my experience like that any longer, because I better understand its influence on me. So, if you understand the perfection of creation, a sad thought, and I know I make this example time and time again, is because it's infallible. And we need an absolute truth to measure other things against in order to have accurate discernment. So a sad thought creates sadness 100% of the time. A happy thought creates happiness 100% of the time. What we align with mentally is what manifests in our experience. So much so that when we are taking medication, if someone would give us a sugar pill considered a placebo and not tell us that it is a sugar pill, our mind would have the reaction. Our mind would create the experience, transforming that sugar pill into the medication and giving us that experience of being medicated rather than having just a pill of sugar. Mind precedes all of manifestation. And when you're considering conspiracy theories, is that raising your vibration to feel free and joyous and stand in your God-given power of creation? Or is it actually the opposite? It makes you feel imposed on and constrained and disempowered. So although we think we are leveling up in knowledge, what we are actually doing is we're tainting and influencing our experience, because we're influencing our conscious mind to have negative low vibration interpretations, which can only manifest in a low vibration manifestation. Truth doesn't consider or concern or is not concerned with your preference or bias. Just because you think something important is important doesn't mean that truth will bend for it. So in regards to government, in regards to vaccines, in regards to COVID, in regards to Western medicine, or any other type of conspiracies that you're into, notice how that lowers your vibration. It drains you. If it's not filling you with love, and it's not filling you with joy, and it's not filling you with happiness, that should be a clear warning that it's disconnecting you. It's pulling you down. And it doesn't have to pull you down. You can change your mind about choosing what you invest your thoughts in. So what I'm saying is it doesn't serve you to think low vibration thoughts, because that's actually what's creating your low vibration experience in regards to those. Here's a contemplation. When we know that a sugar pill can produce the same effect as a medication because of the power of the mind, let's apply that now to the discussion of vaccinations. Because a lot of people want to categorize vaccines as good or bad, and I used to be one of them until I examined and understood things at a different level than I had previously. So if your belief is what determines your experience, because those are your thoughts, that's what you're creating. All thought precedes creation. So if you believe something, Spirit's reminding me right now, in the Bible, before Jesus heals anybody, he always asks them first, do you believe? Because without your conscious agreement, it cannot be done. You have to participate with it. You have to agree to it mentally and consciously. So now, if we take that understanding, a sad thought creates sadness 100% of the time. A happy thought creates happiness 100% of the time. A strong thought creates strength 100% of the time. A sick thought creates sickness 100% of the time, to the degree that it's thought and repeated and with the conviction and intent that's put in behind it. So if you think vaccines are good for you, how do you suppose manifestation will validate that? Do you think truth stops being true because of a vaccine? Absolute truths are unchanging. They're absolute. You'll never have a sad thought and experience happiness. You'll never have a healthy thought and experience sickness. So if you think vaccines are good for you, your belief is affirming that they are good for you. If you believe that you can be unvaccinated and that is sufficient, that is your manifestation. There is no good, there is no bad. You are expressing yourself as you believe. As you believe things to be, you are creating them starting out at a subtle level, and as you increase the repetition of that thought and of the belief, the density of that energy increases and increases and increases. And again, it's Spirit's reminding me, it's like a scale. You want mental momentum. You can't think a good thought once. I won't use the word good. You can't think a healthy thought one time a day and think a sick thought 300 times a day and expect to manifest health. Look at your thoughts as though they're on a scale, and whichever side has the most momentum and conviction and amount will tip the scale in that direction. If it helps you to understand it in a different way, there's programs that are installed in your mind by the most used pathway, the most repeated pathway, and you can change this. But until it's changed, it's the previous running program that's alive and manifesting and creating. You can change that, and that is what affirmations are all about. That's why affirmations are seen as valuable, because it's a deliberate practice to replace and change old programs that aren't serving you. Notice your self-talk. When you're talking in yourself to your mind, are you being positive all the time, building yourself up, reaffirming? If you are doing those things, you would notice that you have a tendency to be very positive. You're a more positive person. But if you are doing a bunch of negative self-talk in your mind all the time, you'll notice how your life is perceived as negative. You're finding things as negative, because that's what's manifesting. That's the filter. That's what you're creating. It can't be anything else until you mindfully take control of it and deliberately change it. But you have that ability. I intend to do an upcoming video on this. Practice changing your mind about your mind. Don't tolerate and accept negative, limiting beliefs that limit you towards what you're intending to experience. Negate and replace, Spirit would say. Negate means do not allow them, and replace them with something that you prefer to experience. So if a thought of illness comes up, you negate it, you deny it, you surrender it in whatever way you want. You can just change your mind about it. As long as you stop giving your attention to it, you've stopped. Once you've stopped giving your attention to it, you've stopped energizing it. And as soon as you change your mind to a positive thought and replace it, now you're replacing that, you're starting to put the weight on the other side of the scale and tip the mental momentum in the other direction, so that manifestation can express itself as such. Consider this. Spirit's just bringing this to my awareness. When you talk to people who are into the conspiracy theories, what is their tone? What is their general outlook on life? Is it joyous? Is it boisterous? Are they standing in their power? Or do you see just a sense of everything is serious? They're just imposed upon. They find corruption and personal imposition and personal constraint in mostly everywhere they look. Like their life is a walking expression of control and corruption and personal imposition. Recognize it doesn't have to be that way. It's only being that way because their mind is influencing their expression, their manifestation. So it doesn't have a choice when they think that way. But they could simply change their mind about it, and until they understand what they're actually doing to themselves, and that they are actually affecting themselves in a negative manner, it's hard for them to let go, because they think that they're making the world a better place. They think that they're doing right for their next of kin. They think that they're the ones that have to stand up. It's not your job to stand up physically. Spirit's reminding me of another story. There's a story of how a group of monks went to a certain community. I don't know if it was a small town, I don't recall, but a certain community. And in their meditations, because of their meditations, the theft in that community dropped. It was like the negative expressions in that community dropped. Why did they drop? Not because the monks were going out at night trying to catch all the thieves. It was a vibration got raised in that community. And you don't raise the vibration of a community by lowering your vibration and playing in the deep, dark conspiracy theories. That doesn't raise vibrations. That's still disconnecting you from your power. Oh, that's a lovely example, actually. And if you're of the mind that I used to be, where you think it's important to really know all of these and stay up to date on all of these type of conspiracies, understand that you're denying your actual true nature, your true power. You're denying your peace and happiness by filling your mind up, which is what determines your experience. You're filling your mind up with thoughts and seeds of corruption. The carnal mind believes that's the way to influence change because it's disconnected from the divine mind and doesn't understand. It's disconnected from spirit, so it doesn't understand that there's a more powerful way that doesn't involve any yang energy. It doesn't involve that doingness. It's about stepping into your beingness and allowing the beingness to influence and transform the energy behind things. Spirit's just reminded me of another story that a previous teacher of mine would share. There was a man shooting people. He had a gun and he was going around shooting people, and the cops were trying to catch him. And it wasn't until a dog went up to him and licked him that the man dropped his gun and gave up. The dog didn't say, "Hey, I'm coming at you, put your gun down, or I'm going to bite you." That's how our carnal mind works. It's like we're going to impose our will on you and you're going to change. Instead, this dog went up to this guy with the energy of love. And that transformed the shooter's, the gunman's mind. If you can receive that, and you can receive the monks changing the community's theft rate by simply meditating, you're getting what I'm putting out here. And this is how the carnal mind complicates and has us spinning our wheels in suffering. In suffering. Because it's not comfortable to have that mindset of being imposed upon. It's not like you figure out all these conspiracies and you feel blessed. And you just feel joyous and happy every day you wake up. You know what I mean? We should know that. By its fruits, we should know these things. If we would pay attention. We would know these things. We would see them clearly. Our discernment is within us. But we're so distracted. We're so distracted in so many ways that we don't understand how to discern ourselves any longer. But what is beautiful is that when we begin to remove the stimulation and the distractions, our awareness shines through and we innately get this. We get this. Truth is revealed. It's never been denied to us. We've just been distracted and turning away from it. This is it's funny because it has come through. Like, it's just powerful understandings. And these are transformative if you apply it. This isn't meant to be a carnal-minded conceptual belief that we know about and we get to parade around and pretend we're important. This is what we apply and benefit from the fruit of. This is spiritual practicality, applicable spirituality, not woo-woo. We'll cut it there, my friends. That's been a nice long entry today. So I love you. You are blessed, and we'll talk soon, my friend.